If you're wondering how I even tell what the pens are, one way to find out is if you did just start colouring a picture and you were like, oh, I guess this is a glitter pen then. But I identified all of the pens when I first got the set. And so the way that you identify them, you can tell from the caps and also how many of the pens there are. So I haven't tried to do dots and spirals, pick the swirls, because you just have no idea what colour is going to come out. I knew that there were 28 glitter pens in the set, and that looked kind of glittery inside the cartridge. Sorry if cartridge isn't the right word, by the way. I might be using like the wrong terminology for some of these things, but hopefully you still kind of get what I mean. The classics were very easy to identify just because, oh, was there 6 of them? I keep saying that there's 6 of them. I think there might actually be classic pens. I think I make that mistake all the time. I think it's just a black, a dark green, a dark blue, and a blue. I think they're really easy to identify, and they do kind of look a fine liner with the fine nib on. They have the smallest nib of all of the pens in the set. The glitter pens do also have a little bit of glitter in the barrel of the pen itself. There are 14 glitter neons, and they're also a 1mm nib, but the way that you tell them apart from the glitters, so they are separate in the set, so they're not right next to each other, I don't think, and they do both have a clear cap, but the glitter neons don't have any glitter in the barrel of the pen. So if you hold up the pen and it's a glitter pen, you should be able to see both glitter in the ink itself, even if it's very faint, but you also will see like in the clear plastic that there's glitter manufactured into the casing of the pen itself, whereas the glitter neons are a clear cap and the glitter is only in the ink itself when it comes out of the pen. The neons, there's 16 of those. They're quite easy to identify. I actually don't think did I mention colouring anything in with a neon? I've maybe used one of those, but I don't tend to go for the neon shades, probably because there are no refills and no duplicates, and the neons are the most pigmented. So if you started doing a picture with one of those and it ran out, and then you switched to one of the other type of pen, it would be quite obvious. Probably the closest 2 type pens are the glitter and the glitter neons, or I think I've done some where I've been ready to use like a glitter and metallic in the same picture. There are 17 metallics with a 0.8mm nib, and then the pastels are quite easy to identify as well. 15 of those with a 0.8mm tip. That also includes a white pen. I wouldn't use that for colouring in these. One thing that I haven't tried that I guess you could is if you did like a black wash on a page to create like a black background. Apparently the glitters show up best on black actually, so if you were using them for other crafts, glitter on black paper should stand out quite strongly, and that's something to think about as well if you're going to be filming or photographing, because gel pens don't show up that strong light, so you need to be kind of like moving the page around in order to really see the glitter show up. Where the caps are coloured, the cap does match the colour well on the Castle Arts gel pens, so generally whatever the colour of the cap is a good representation of the colour that you'll get when you actually start using the pen. And only the pastels and the white won't show up on black paper. A set of gel pens for colouring a book like this, I tend to think of it as a pen per picture, and so once I'm done with the picture I really don't get very much from that pen. If there is any ink over, I might use it to take notes. You expect very little from a pen afterwards because there's just not very much ink left, but maybe you might find a use for doing a little bit of drawing or colouring on other types of paper. Page 8 of the book I think is probably the most intensive one that I'd done, so that definitely took a good couple of hours to finish. Actually, the picture after that might have been the most time intensive because it was a very dense dots picture, but that did also make it very easy to colour in rows. What I might do when I finish the whole book is go back and sort of try and fill in the white space to create another picture. Now for page 11 it was clear to see for once what the finished picture was meant to be. It does tend to be easier with the dots picture to see like what the finished picture is going to be compared to a spiral for instance, and I could clearly see like what clothes Harry was wearing and that sort of thing. Once you actually start colouring in you do lose track a little bit though. It becomes sort of harder to see the distinction between parts of the picture, but I just about managed to sort of colour in ends that I was using really did start to run out, and I was just trying to do whatever I could to finish. So I don't think I would do another multicolour picture. I didn't really like how the finished picture turned out because obviously I also wasn't trying to like match colours from an aesthetic point of view or anything. I was just using whatever pens I had left over. Page 12 was a 1mm glitter picture, but that's really besides the point because I mean, it didn't look like anything. So I went back to a trusty 1mm glitter pen for the next dots picture that I did, and I think the pen survived the entire picture, but again, I could kind of tell in advance that a lot of the dots were very small, so the pen probably would last. So you can try and match a pen to the page and try and choose the best gel pen depending on whether you're colouring a lines, dots or spirals picture, and then within that you can sometimes tell in advance that you're going to have a lot of dots to colour in. There's nothing to agonise over, and I still think that this is the best option for me personally, or if you want to make as few creative decisions as possible and just kind of tune out while you're doing it. Whereas if you buy another type with like the mandalas and stuff like that, you're going to have a lot of decisions to make about how to actually colour the page in. So my recommendations would be have a play with it. If you really like the sort of ASMR colouring sounds, then you might just want to use like a 0.6mm for all of your pictures anyway, so that you get that scratchy sound as the pen is like dragging across the paper. I would use like a 1mm for everything, and you can just whiz across the page and feel like you're making a lot of progress in a very short space of time. And just remember to look after your pens so that you don't create any air bubbles. If I've forgotten anything, let me know, and let me know if you like this. And of course, by all means, go back to the previous installments if you wanted more tips on how to colour in the pictures if you haven't done any of these before, or if you want to know how to make a spiral picture yourself online.